Pressure does not destroy weak men. Their emotions do. Read that again. Slowly. Because most people spend their entire lives blaming pressure for their failures when the truth is far more uncomfortable. Pressure did not make you lose control. Pressure did not destroy your clarity. Pressure did not collapse your decisions. Your emotions did. And until you understand that distinction at a deep, honest level, you will keep losing to situations you were actually strong enough to survive. This is not a speech that will comfort you. It is a speech that will confront you. Because comfort has never built discipline, and the truth, no matter how cold it feels, is always more useful than a lie that feels warm. So sit with this. Think about the last time you were under real pressure. A deadline, a confrontation, a failure, a betrayal. A moment where everything felt unstable and the weight became almost unbearable. Think about what happened inside you in that moment. Not what happened around you, what happened inside you. Did you think clearly? Did you speak with precision? Did you make decisions from a place of control? Or did something else take over? Something faster than logic, something louder than reason, something that moved before your mind could stop it. That something was emotion, unexamined, uncontrolled, undisciplined. And in that moment, no matter how strong you believed yourself to be, you became weaker than the pressure you were facing. Here is the uncomfortable truth about human psychology under pressure. Anyone can appear composed when life is calm. Anyone can speak with patience when nothing is at stake. Anyone can act with discipline when there is no pain, no threat, no uncertainty. That requires almost nothing. That proves almost nothing. But remove the comfort, apply the heat, take away the certainty. Now, watch who a person truly becomes. Pressure is not cruel. Pressure is simply honest. It removes every layer of performance and leaves only what is real. And what pressure exposes most brutally is emotional control, or the terrifying absence of it. The person who speaks clearly when everything is fine but erupts when challenged is not a composed person. They are a performer. The person who makes rational decisions in comfort but panics when circumstances shift is not a disciplined person. They are dependent on favorable conditions, and favorable conditions do not last. They never do. Pressure always comes, and when it arrives, it does not negotiate. It simply reveals. Let us talk about what emotional reactions actually do to you in moments of pressure. Anger. When anger rises unchecked under pressure, it does one thing immediately. It narrows your thinking. The field of view in your mind contracts. You stop seeing options. You stop hearing clearly. You stop processing at full capacity. Anger tells your nervous system that you are under attack, and your nervous system responds by preparing you to fight or flee, not to think, not to decide, not to lead. And so in the exact moment when you need the sharpest version of your mind, anger hands you the dullest blade available. You say things you cannot take back. You make decisions from a place of heat rather than clarity. And then when the fire dies down, you are left standing in the wreckage of choices made by a version of yourself you are not even fully aware of. Fear. Fear under pressure is equally destructive, though far quieter. Fear does not erupt. It hesitates. It delays. It whispers not yet when the moment demands now. Fear dresses itself as caution and calls itself wisdom. But there is a profound difference between calculated patience and fear disguised as patience. Calculated patience waits for the right moment with clarity. Fear simply waits because movement feels too dangerous. And while fear keeps you frozen, the situation evolves without you. Opportunities close. Momentum is lost. And then fear tells you, quietly, that hesitation was the right choice all along. Panic. Panic is perhaps the most catastrophic emotional state under pressure. Because it moves fast, it floods the mind with noise. Every thought becomes loud. Every option feels either too risky or too passive. The body tightens. The breath shortens. The thinking becomes reactive instead of intentional. A person in panic does not solve problems. They react to symptoms. They chase the loudest alarm instead of finding the source of the fire. And in doing so, they often make the situation far worse than it needed to be. Insecurity. This one is rarely discussed in conversations about pressure, but it is perhaps the most dangerous of all. Insecurity under pressure causes overreaction. It causes people to interpret neutral situations as personal attacks. It causes people to defend positions that do not need defending because their ego has confused being challenged with being threatened. Insecurity makes pressure feel personal when it is simply circumstantial. And the moment pressure becomes personal, objectivity ends. And without objectivity, sound judgment is impossible. All of these emotional states share one outcome. They disconnect you from reality. They replace what is true with what you feel in that instant. And in high-pressure moments, the gap between what you feel and what is actually true can be catastrophic. This is why emotional thinking under pressure produces mistakes. Not small mistakes, consequential ones. The kind you carry. The kind that shift the trajectory of relationships, careers, reputations, and self-respect. And the painful irony is that the emotional reaction always feels completely justified in the moment. It always feels like the right response. Because emotions do not warn you that they are distorting your perception. They simply distort it. That is the danger. Not that emotions are evil. Not that feeling something is weakness. But that an undisciplined emotional response convinces you it is clarity when it is actually noise. And so here is the core truth this entire conversation has been building toward. Strong people feel emotions. Every single one of them. They feel anger, they feel fear, they feel frustration, grief, anxiety, pain, and a desperate desire to react. Emotional control is not the absence of feeling. It is not coldness for the sake of coldness. It is not detachment from the human experience. Emotional control is the decision, conscious, practiced, and disciplined, to feel without being consumed, to observe without being swept away, to acknowledge what is rising inside you without allowing it to command your actions. The undisciplined person experiences an emotion and immediately becomes it. The emotion arrives, and they are the emotion. There is no space between stimulus and response. No gap, no pause, no choice. The disciplined person experiences the same emotion and watches it. They feel the heat, and they do not flinch from it. But they also do not become it. There is space between what they feel and what they do. And in that space lives everything that separates collapse from composure. That space does not appear naturally. It is built slowly. Through training that most people never commit to because it is invisible, unglamorous, and never finished. Emotional control requires discipline, not motivation, not inspiration, discipline. The kind that shows up on the days when you feel nothing. The kind that holds firm when everything in you wants to react. The kind that has been practiced so many times in small moments that it becomes available in the large ones. Emotional control requires self-awareness. You cannot regulate what you cannot see. And most people have almost no honest awareness of their own emotional patterns. They do not know what triggers them. They do not know how their emotional state changes their body language, their tone, their perception. They walk through pressure blind to the internal weather that is shaping every word they say and every decision they make. Emotional control requires patience. Not passive patience, active patience. The practice of slowing down your internal response time, of deliberately creating space between what happens and how you respond. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive discipline there is. Because pressure, by its nature, creates urgency. And urgency demands speed. But undisciplined speed under pressure produces destruction. Whereas a single moment of composed, intentional delay can change the outcome entirely. Emotional control requires mental training. The mind is not naturally wired for calm under pressure. It is wired for survival. And survival in ancient terms meant react fast, feel intensely, act immediately. That wiring served humans in a world of physical threat. It is deeply unhelpful in a world where the most critical battles are psychological. And so if you do not consciously train your mind toward composure, your mind will default to its original programming. Urgency, reactivity, emotion first. Emotional control requires silence. Not silence from others, silence within yourself. The ability to become still in moments of noise, to lower the internal volume when everything around you is screaming for reaction. Most people have never practiced this. They fill every quiet moment with stimulation. They have never sat alone with discomfort without immediately seeking distraction. And so when pressure arrives and demands inner stillness, they have no foundation to stand on. So, what does this actually look like, practically inside a moment of real pressure? It looks like a pause before speaking. Not a long pause, not a dramatic one, simply the briefest moment of intentional delay between stimulus and response. That pause is everything. In that pause, the emotional charge begins to settle. In that pause, your thinking catches up with your feeling. In that pause, you shift from reactive to intentional. It looks like breath. Conscious, controlled breath. When pressure escalates, breathing shortens. Shallow breathing activates the stress response. It signals to your nervous system that threat is present, and the nervous system responds by flooding you with urgency hormones. Controlled, deep, deliberate breathing does the opposite. It signals safety. It lowers the physiological arousal. It creates, in real time, a biological foundation for composure. This is not abstract philosophy. This is physiology, and it is available to you in every single moment. And more than any external measure of success, they develop the one thing that cannot be given to you, cannot be taken from you, and cannot be faked. They develop absolute, proven trust in themselves. The knowledge, earned through experience, that no matter what arrives, they will not become undone by it. That is what emotional discipline ultimately produces. Not the performance of strength, the reality of it. The world does not lack people who can speak confidently about composure. The world is full of them. What the world genuinely lacks is people who have done the quiet, serious work of actually becoming composed. People who do not merely talk about pressure as though they understand it from a distance, but who have stood inside it, felt it fully, and chosen, with full awareness and full discipline, not to be consumed. Become that person, not because it will impress others, not because it will make you appear strong, but because you will know, in every high-pressure moment for the rest of your life, that the most dangerous thing in the room is the version of you that has learned to stay completely calm. Pressure does not destroy you. Your response to pressure does. Your emotions are not your enemy. Your lack of command over them is. And calmness is not the absence of power. Calmness is where all real power lives. If this reached something inside you, something honest, something that recognized itself in these words, leave one comment below. Comment: calm under pressure. That is all. No explanation needed. Just those 3 words. Because if you understood what was said here today, you already know what they mean.